Now, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, I have been an advocate for dethatching or removing lawn debris off of the surface of the soil for a very long time. Now, a lot of you guys are getting to that point where you want to slay that lawn, which I'm really excited about, and I'm getting a lot of messages. And the primary question is, can you use a dethatcher or a power rake in the peak of the summer at its hottest? So let's talk about these dethatchers. In essence, the dethatchers remove surface debris off of the top of the soil. Now we have this part which we call the crown, which is the very top end of the thatch layer that oftentimes gets a little out of control. Now dethatchers and power rakers, they do affect the crown ever so slightly when it comes to thatch, but the primary purpose is to remove debris. So Ginja, where does all this surface debris come from? Well, this surface debris is just dead grass. Now this dead grass comes from a couple different sources. The primary culprit that I find is actually your lawnmower. Keep in mind, we're mowing 1 to 2 times a week, depending on the situation, and it's physically impossible and improbable that your mower is going to catch all the clippings. Now, second of all, a lot of you guys are mulching improperly. The chunks are left behind too big, anywhere between 1/4 of an inch on up to 1 inch that you're just leaving on top. And in many areas like mine, where we're at altitude of almost a mile high, it's just not gonna break down. Now, the other thing is the end of the season short mow. Many of us out there are not getting the top of the grass low enough down to about 1 inch or 1.5 inches. And over winter, when that grass goes to hibernate, we get a lot of deadhead. And over time, it gets pressed into the soil and doesn't come back up in the springtime because we're not mowing short enough to remove the debris. The other issue that I encounter quite often is a lot of you guys are watering too much, then too little, then too much, then too little, and you repeat this cycle. So you end up having drought stress damage where the leaf blades get damaged to the point where they're brown and it never gets cleaned up. Now the surface debris more often than not does not get cleaned out on top of the soil. It gets stuck. Now for me, this lawn is a pretty classic case scenario of debris matter. Now it's clouding the color. You can see right in there that they're watering pretty okay, but you'll be surprised how much debris that I can actually get out of this lawn. It's almost shocking. And when you get on top of it, you can see all that gray matter that's choking it out. But let's grab the thatch rake real quick so I can kind of show you what's happening. Now what I want to show you is this area is literally 14 inches by 14 inches. We're not dealing with a lot of surface area that I pulled out. And I just like to show people that I put the grass back on top to kind of give you a better feeling of what this looks like just in this area where I pulled it out. And it ends up being this big giant matted sponge. Now we have a few problems here. The materials like water, fertilizer, nutrients going down, they get stuck in this material of just gook. Now the other issue that we have is when you're watering, the evaporation coming up also gets stuck in this matter, and the water going down gets stuck in this matter. So you have this perfect area for fungus. Now what a lot of people don't talk about is this is where brown patch, melting out disease, summer patch, and Pythium blight, you'll find that in this matter. So if you're commonly getting brown patch, Pythium, and blight, you may want to look at removing this. Now this is almost shocking how much debris is in just this little tiny area that's like 14 inches by 14 inches. Now the one thing I like to call attention to is this matter is commonly hotter than the rest of the lawn. It holds the light more. And then I find that the temperature when I use my meat thermometer is typically about 3 to 5 degrees warmer in these areas. Now, it's 100 degrees out here right now. Ground temperature is sitting around 75 degrees on average. An extra 3 degrees, even 78, 80 degrees, that's a big deal for Kentucky bluegrass. let alone the air transfer, the nutrient transfer, and just letting the grass be grass. But when it gets stuck in all this stuff, it can't do what it's supposed to. There is something very satisfying in getting rid of surface debris. It increases the color, makes you feel good just seeing all that crap coming out. But I'll tell you what, using the Thatch Rake, it is not a fun job whatsoever. A lot of you guys have purchased the Joe Dethatchers and the Greenworks Dethatchers. My suggestion is you could actually use those weekly. They are very non-invasive. Now, I don't recommend using a Power Rake weekly. Beats up the lawn real well, and the recovery time is up to 6 to 8 weeks, which is why I don't recommend it. Where the Dethatchers, you can actually use them daily, weekly, monthly. I didn't believe it, but the head guys at Allett told me that that's what they're doing to their soccer fields and the NFL pro football fields. So I took the challenge and I decided to go with it on my own lawn. So this season I've actually been averaging once a week to get that color nice and well. Last week I did it, it was 92 degrees, and today we are a whopping 98 degrees at the high, and we're gonna get it done once again. Now, one thing that I really love about power raking or dethatching a lawn is that it increases color because you remove the dead debris that is clouding your color. Now, let's say that you have a massive debris problem. Well, we know that it's possible that you're gonna end up with fungus. We know that it's overheating the lawn. So at the end of the day, the question is, should you remove the debris? And the Ginja's answer is always going to be yes, remove the debris. Worst case scenario, in the heat, it's just gonna make the recovery process a little bit longer, but nothing that you can't handle by putting down a biostimulant like humates, sea kelp, and a little bit of fertilizer to force growth. I call it my 8-week Better Homes to Garden for a reason. Now, this process you can get down to about 3 to 4 weeks if you use a dethatcher as opposed to a power rake, which is much less invasive. The dethatchers have almost looks like a paper clip cut in a U shape, as opposed to a power rake that has a flail. Those flails are a thick disc metal base, and they score the ground, and it makes it a little bit harder on the lawn. Let's get back to this other lawn that looked dingy and bad. We know it's 96 degrees outside right now. Should you dethatch it? The answer is absolutely yes. The best comparison I can give you is if I gave you a bowl of cereal, put my arms around your throat, started choking you, and started spoon feeding you the cereal, it's gonna make it a little bit difficult to eat. Removing this debris is definitely the right option. If you choose not to remove it, fertilizer has a rough time, the water has a rough time getting down, it has a rough time evaporating up, and you end up with a fungal disease layer of dead matter. So we did one pass, itty bitty that way to here. And I am 100% full. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy. You'd be shocked how much is coming out, and none of it really is live material. It's all just dead debris. One pass. Hot or not, we're gonna get this job done, and we're gonna get this job done right. Don't let the fact that I'm using my Allett Mower as the dethatcher today turn you off. The Joe and Greenworks Dethatchers work fantastic. And I dare say they remove just about the same amount of debris. The only difference is you're not catching it, putting it into a bucket. All right, so that is about my third pass on the lawn. Just this little itty bitty section. I filled the entire trash can. I mean, this is so ridiculous, and it's just dead debris. No substitution for it. I wanted you guys to see it in real time. It's still got a long ways to go. I'm still going to work it, but overall the color's getting better. Just want to give you an idea of how much dead grass we pulled from this section, which I'd estimate it's about 1,000 square feet. Believe it or not, that's the second trash can that is full. I filled that one up across the street where I had the camera on it. It's just amazing how much that is. I mean, if you think about that, if we just spread that back out here on the lawn, that's almost, I would guesstimate about 4 inches thick across the board. It acts like a giant sponge once we get this breathing, once everything starts going and we get all the water, nutrients, evaporation occurring, the soil gets happy. The microbes get stirring, everything starts pushing, and then you have a nice happy lawn. Happy soil, happy lawn. Now, of course, they are going to tell you you can't dethatch when it's hot outside. They will tell you you have to leave the debris because it's good for the lawn. They are not on the lawn doing the doing. They don't have an amazing lawn, and it is my interpretation that they are probably a bunch of old landscapers that got out there when it was really hot and said, you know what, it's too hot, I don't want to do the hard work. We're just going to tell them it's too hot and it'll stress the lawn out. But guys, if you guys have any questions or concerns, hit me up in the comments. Love to help you out. Don't be they, get on the lawn, be the Joneses, slay that lawn. Until next time guys, Pest and Lawn Ginja, I'm out.